Salutations, nerds. We're watching the MCU in all its glory.
Welcome back to Phased Out, a series we're calling that because it's designed to make Nick hate us. I don't know that it's going to happen if it hasn't happened up to this point, though, because I think we're getting into the era of the MCU where it gets kind of bad, as if you, I know, as if you thought it could get worse as it is. Jared, I don't know about you, but I'm just so tired. How about you?
Well, I've been tired, but then a couple of those movies gave me some life back, and now, not that this one's bad, it's not bad at all. It's just a sign of things to come. It's just after this movie, we enter the suck.
The suck saga?
It's just a vacuum of quality. Things go in and nothing comes back out.
That's what happens when you don't pay artists what they're worth.
Also, pandemic happened after this movie.
No, they don't get to cop out with that.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying
when you don't pay your artists and your workers what they're worth, this is what you get.
Oh, I know. I'm saying the pandemic's after this, too, so, like, everything changed.
Actually, no, I'm going to say it like this. This is the last good-looking Marvel movie.
I disagree with that.
Guardians 3 looks good.
Is really pretty. I think the Marvels look pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
That's fair.
I also think the next Spider-Man looks pretty good. It looks really good in a lot of spots.
It's fair, too.
Anyway, Eternals looks pretty good for the most part.
No.
Yeah, because that's just Earth, desert. It looks great. There's no CG.
Except for the big hands that just stick up everywhere that they never reference again.
But they do in a little newspaper clipping that nobody ever saw.
Anyway, today we are talking about everybody's favorite, Spider-Man Far From Home. The good old drone story.
Yeah. But we'll get to that later.
We will get to that. Let's talk about what we liked first, because
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
He starts the movie so we can talk about him right away.
So I just got to say that for a long time, Spider-Man was my favorite comic book hero.
Still is for me. Always has been.
I love Mysterio. He's just so dopey and stupid, and I love it. And like, that's kind of and they did a fantastic job of visualizing what I always had in my head as what is Mysterio. I personally don't like the big hoodwink of he's from a multiverse, he's from another universe, but then they take it back, especially knowing that they were going to lean into the multiverse thing. I wish they would have just stayed.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the twist, because everyone has told me that's Mysterio, and I go, I get it. Why is it the stuff that's fake is so much cooler than the stuff we get?
Because that's Mysterio. Mysterio's always been lame. He's always been a dork. He's a failed prop master who makes good props and uses them for bad. But he's always just this schlubby little dork.
That's why the drones make sense to me and not you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they make sense to me. I just still think it's lame.
That's
drones.
Mysterio.
But that's later. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I love the way they design everything about Mysterio.
I'm glad we got the full fishbowl.
Yeah, and the smoke in the fishbowl. Yep. What do you guys think?
It's a dumb twist having him be Mysterio if you know anything about comic books, because you know it's Mysterio. He's going to be bad. There's no possible way he's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for anybody going into this not knowing that character, it's very well done. I don't know. Do we want to get into details of the things we liked about him? Because my favorite thing was the bar scene. And the whole twist itself was phenomenally done.
Much better. It felt like a very Trevor Slattery moment, but better done.
Mental pin in that.
Yes.
More to talk on that whole scene later. But I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I've always liked Jake Gyllenhaal. I think one of the earliest things I remember seeing him in is Donnie Darko. I love Donnie Darko. And then just other stuff you've seen, because he's in a bunch.
It's funny. I was familiar with Maggie, which is his sister, right?
Yeah. They're in that. Yeah. She plays a sister in that as well.
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever seen Donnie Darko. And
I think you should.
A lot of people have said that is a movie for you, Jake, and it just makes me...
We'll put it this way. Not that it's a movie for you. I think at this point, being over 20 years removed from it, you should at least watch it just to say, hey, I watched it finally. because it's a big cult movie.
I could do that with Buffy the Vampire Slayer too, but I'm not gonna.
You should.
Yeah. That's much more of an investment.
Yeah.
Donnie
Just watch the
Darko's
Buffy movie, you'll get it.
No, I've seen the Buffy movie.
Oh, you got it then.
The Buffy movie's fine.
Yeah. Just with Donnie Darko, it's like, just you watch it what? I think the director's cut is a little longer.
Something?
Yeah. You get that out of the way, you go, all right, not my thing.
It's got,
But,
what,
yeah.
is Seth Rogen's in that?
I think
One
he
of his
is.
classmates, I think.
Something like
So you get
that.
a surprise Seth
there's a
Rogen
bunch
cameo.
of There's a bunch of recognizable
Yeah, a bunch of
in
people
it.
who weren't very famous at the time who are like, oh, I know that guy.
Jerry Trainer shows up in one scene. You're like, oh, there's Jerry Trainer. Yes.
Is Jake Gyllenhaal in what's the movie?
I'm going to say yes before you say what movie it is.
What's the movie?
Southpaw.
The Jesse James movie.
No.
No. Okay.
No. Which character were you thinking of? Because
One of the gang.
gotcha. No, I don't think so. Because the only ones I can think of course, are Sam Rockwell and Casey Affleck,
Yeah.
and then of course Brad Pitt. Yeah, I don't think he's in
What's
it.
the full title of that again?
The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford,
Great movie, by the way. Great
which
movie.
I really want to see the can cut, because there's like another hour, and I think it's a lot of the falling action got cut, because that is the movie. Not to go too much into that.
It's
that
a
side.
movie that we both love.
Yeah, but
I don't know if you've seen it, Nick.
Nope.
yeah, but
Too long of a
Gyllenhaal,
movie for me to go see it. Too long of a title for me to go see it.
But back to Spider-Man. Jake Gyllenhaal, very good.
Now-
They do another thing that all Spider-Man movies often tend to do. Not Homecoming, but villain gets killed at the end, and it's like, well, there goes that.
Yep.
Let's back up a little bit, because there's an interesting thing that this movie has to do, and it's hold up the weight of the end of Endgame and be the movie that comes after it. I think it does it pretty well.
I also like that we start with very lighthearted with the school news report.
Yeah.
Talking about the blip and people coming back, and it's a good way to kind of,
Especially
hey,
because,
here's
like,
something real serious. Let's
like-
go ahead and get back into some fun.
for me, that was my biggest question: is how are they going to handle the blip moving forward? Are they just going to ignore it? Which turns out that's kind of what they've done.
They've peppered it throughout.
But this movie, like, it doesn't like say go into full depth, but at least it has it at the beginning of it.
Yeah, because it's the big thing is there are people in our grades who didn't get blipped, who are now 5 years older, who are like adults with lives, and then there are people who were blipped that are now in the same grade as people who are 5 years younger.
And even though we took our midterms already, we have to go through the whole year again.
That is funny. I like the editing of the news report where you got the cheap, easy transitions. You got the watermark on images. You got it's that.
Yeah.
I was laughing at that.
I was going to say, let's be fair about that. You like that because that was you when you were that age.
Yep, in high school. Yeah, that's exactly how the school news is. That's what it reminds you of. That it's like, oh yeah, that's right. That was fun. Man, that's a good way to because that's post opening credits, right? Because
Yeah, you get the fight
Mysterio.
with, Mysterio.
You don't want any part of this, which is in all the trailers.
I also like how they set him up to be, are you going to be the leader of the Avengers now? Like, what's your place in this? And he's just a
kid.
15-year-old kid.
Yeah, and it's having
I never thought about that before, but in universe, he's not even old enough to really drive yet, is he?
Nope,
No.
still taking the school bus every day. I mean, he's in New York, so he probably takes
Well,
the school bus
yeah,
no matter
yeah.
what, but
yeah, and Tony's likeness is everywhere he goes.
Mm-hmm. That would suck if you were him.
Yep, being reminded of this thing, this traumatic thing, and all this weight on you, and then of course getting the glasses later. It's like,
I love that they all of a sudden started selling those glasses after the movie. I bought a pair of them. They actually work because they're blue lens glasses. I don't like the way they look on me, but
yeah. So I like how the movie takes Spider-Man out of New York.
you also like a good road movie.
In a way, it
is
it
a
has
road
so
movie.
it has so much to juggle that it doesn't feel like one.
It's another thing where I think if they would have been allowed to make the movie that they wanted to make, it would have been a full-on road movie. But because it has to be a Marvel thing,
It's got because it's setting up all this stuff.
also kind of addressing the stuff that just happened.
Yeah,
It's the first Fallout movie.
This movie had a lot to do. It's
also telling its own story in the middle.
Yeah, it's kind of like Force Awakens in that way, and it kind of ends up being at the same level of Force Awakens in my head.
I think it does the same thing that Homecoming, or it doesn't do the same thing Homecoming doesn't do that bugs me is Homecoming, I thought a good way to tie it to the plot, a stronger middle plot better, is the Homecoming dance has to be a bigger part of the narrative because they don't do anything with it.
Because that's the title?
Yeah, and then like this one, it feels like those high school trip movies. Like, what's an easy... Lizzie McGuire movie is one
Road
of them.
Trip.
I was going to say Road Trip, too.
Yeah. But like,
even easier, Euro Trip.
That's actually what I was thinking when I was saying Road Trip.
Yeah. Whereas those are like, they're older. I'm thinking like high school. It's like, yeah, the trip is way more important in those because it's not a Marvel movie. It's a completely different movie. But in this, it's like, I kind of wish there's a little more because...
In this,
we
you
spend
have to have
so
the Nick Fury and the
Nick Fury and
the Nick Fury and the Skrulls and the whole bit about deleting the picture, which leads to him calling down the drone strike, and that's all even before the twist is revealed.
It kind of gets to the point where, because when there are movies about trips like this, and the main story is taking place during it, to where there's conflict between the two, which this movie does have. It doesn't feel like there's really that many consequences because he'll just disappear for long extended periods. And the teacher, it is funny.
Have you seen the teachers, though? Like, they're not going to be doing head counts all the time.
Peter, good, you're not dead.
Yep.
I was like, that's funny. I like that part.
Drops the camera into the Venice
channels? the channels.
Yeah. I just remember thinking, like, he straight on disappeared for like a whole day. And there's like no repercussions.
You are focused. It's the same thing that you. It's the same. It's the same hang up you get with Smallville. It doesn't matter that all of these people are dying in this tiny town, and it's always this kid that's around the things that are happening. You just gotta experience it. Like there's some things that cannot be explained in a story.
This one's more of the thing to keep it grounded to something more of a central story that's not MCU based is around the trip, but they can't do that. Yeah. That's what I think is the disconnect in the first one from the high school side of it, because when we're in the high school and have attaching things, it is engaging, but we're apart from it so much. And this one, the same thing. He's apart from the trip.
It's almost like
so
the movies
much.
would be better without Marvel influence.
Yeah. I don't know. We saw Amazing Spider-Man.
Did that have Marvel influence?
Not really.
To be fair, that was Sony.
That's just my takeaway from the first two. Is it's not really bonding those two movies together because it has to be both, and in turn doesn't.
He's
feel
also
like
a little not likable in this one. He's less likable in this one, I think, than in the other two. I think it's because he's kind of like, because of the way he has to feel because of everything that has happened.
With everything that's happened, he thinks, and it's fine to think, I'd like to be selfish for just a little bit because I just want to enjoy something instead of jumping right into more stuff. And it's trying to do a similar thing to the second Raimi movie of the weight of being Spider-Man is hurting him. And again, they don't have time for it.
Yeah, well, I also think that this one comes off a little more whiny than Tobey Maguire does.
Yeah, and there are parts where it's like, I get it. I get you're a kid. You're on a trip. You don't want to deal with this stuff. But it is coming off as a little annoying. And he did almost kill all of his classmates.
Again.
Tony gave that to him. That's fine. Gave that to him right now. Maybe not the best decision. I don't know.
I think you're misinterpreted that. I don't think Tony gave it to him right now. Tony just willed it to him. It was Fury that kind of forced it on him.
Well, not Fury.
Talos.
Talos has Fury, which makes more sense, but it is kind of like, oh my. But yeah, that's that whole thing is my disconnect from it. But I still like just like Homecoming, individual parts. Him and MJ, great chemistry.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
When they're together, it's and because they are together in real life. Yeah, I was just about to say they are. So that factors in.
You know what? Ned and Betty, great relationship.
Yeah, I don't know why they broke that up.
Chemistry. fantastic.
Because now Ned is a man.
Yes, Jake. He's a man of the world.
And he is soon to be the goblin character of the universe.
Hobgoblin, right?
Is that what it? Yeah.
I believe so.
There's so many different goblins.
Neo-Goblin.
I don't know.
New Goblin.
I don't know. There's like seven of them.
Gobgoblin.
They could make their own Sinister Six.
I mean,
I'm down for that.
I like Ned's scene when he walks in as Peter's changing and MJ knows, and he's just like, and he tries to play off that he doesn't know. Ned's wonderful.
I love Fury just willing to sleep anybody that interrupts his conversations.
Yep. I got tased by Nick Fury. Oh, Ned. He's too good for this world.
Ned and Wong, two of the best characters in the whole MCU.
Yep. And they do interact in that third one?
Yeah.
Good. That's right, because he's able to open the portal without any training, and he's like has a natural ability. That's right. Yeah. I'm grasping now because it's like I know I talked a lot of negative just now, but there are a lot of things I like.
I think the teachers in general phenomenal throughout this movie.
Martin Starr and JB Smoove.
So good.
The Titans, is that what they're called? They call them Titans.
Oh yeah.
The
elementals.
The elemental things. Titans. That was Hercules.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where he throws a tornado. It's wonderful. Anyway.
I mean, Glenn Powell shot was missiles.
Fireworks.
Fireworks, yeah, because that's better.
I mean, it's a little more reasonable than grabbing it and throwing it.
Fair.
He just went pew pew pew, whereas Hercules went ah! And they just do bing in the distance, and then they explode.
Anyway, those looked really good, particularly the water one, in my opinion, looked really, really good. It's again a little upsetting when you find out that they're drones, but that's Mysterio. So
yeah, I like how it's like, oh, there are no giant big buildings in this area for him to swing around. He's the kind of guy just swing on these rooftops. Like again, taking him out of New York is an interesting idea. It's fun to see him in these other places.
And the whole bit about the reason that he tries to kill his classmates being because Brad took a photo of him
half naked.
That is such an awkward scene. I was not comfortable either time watching this. I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
Is it because the woman is making him undress?
Yeah, just standing there watching. It's like, this is very uncomfortable.
I think it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, and I don't think it is. It was funny later when Brad's trying to, like, say I have a picture, then isn't it Flash is like, dude, what are you doing taking pictures of people in bathrooms? Yep. It's like, okay, that's funny. Screw Brad. He sucks.
I did not like
I feel
Flash
bad for that actor because he played such a stupid character, but he played it so well.
He did.
I did not like Flash in the first one, but in this one he is really funny.
I love Tony Revolori so much.
Yeah, he is.
Like when he's talking about how much he loves Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
I just love and respect. He tries to protect everyone. Sup, dickwad?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it's a decent cast.
Yeah.
I like the outside of who we've talked about, just
bringing Happy Hogan in.
Happy.
And he has stuff to do in this movie, and
something to do.
He's hanging out with the kids and trying to protect them.
I work with Spider. You work for Spider. Yeah, I don't work for Spider. I work with Spider-Man. And then the jet blows up. I was like, that's good.
Yep.
I love Happy.
One thing I've always had a question about, though. So you're Spider-Man, right?
Thank you.
When were you going to tell me?
You're Spider-Man, right? Okay. You have the Iron Spider suit.
Right.
And you just kind of ditch that for a normal spider suit.
Because he didn't want to bring a suit in the first place, and Aunt May packed it for him.
Well, I didn't.
Also, would that get through metal detectors?
Yeah, he wasn't going to bring a suit at all.
You don't know. It's nano whatever. Do you know if it would set off metal detectors?
No, isn't it in that giant vortex?
Oh, that's right.
That he has to carry around?
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he wasn't bringing a suit at all.
I feel like this is one of the movies where the trailers were very different than the way the movie ended up, because I feel like there was a lot more content with him in the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah, we had a whole scene of him fighting people in a restaurant in it.
That's right.
That's right. That got cut out of the movie.
Yep, we just got the feast scene instead. So, but hey, it's nice to see Aunt May with her charity. It's been around for many a year, and
Feast.
it finally made it to the movies.
Aunt May and Happy having a thing is great. It makes sense.
When he calls her and Happy's there, and he's like, "Who is that there with you?" Oh, no, nobody.
Happy, don't give me the phone. Hi. That was good.
Jon Favreau's such a legend. I love it. I love that man.
The best scene of the movie, in my opinion, is those two talking in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part. When they're both just like
On the jet?
I miss
Before
him.
he starts making...
Yep,
Yep.
it's the I miss him speech.
Yep.
Okay.
And what does he say? Like, Tony was many... what was it? Tony was many things.
But not...
Something. And then he's like, and you're... Oh, is it? You're not Tony.
Yeah.
Tony was many things, but...
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
the
but
line.
that whole speech he gives, I'm like, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. He also killed a lot of those poor tulips. I like tulips. That still bugs me. He just lands on someone's tulip.
And they just sat there running the jet for a while.
Yep. But the Led Zeppelin joke is pretty good. I love Led Zeppelin.
And that's kind of a through line with him. Where, like, you guys remember the old movie?
Empire Strikes Back.
I was gonna say Last
How
Jedi.
old is this kid, Stark?
Is him not like quite or like trying to reference things that are way before his time? I like that.
Yeah, it was cool to see him make the suit. That was fun. Trying to think of other things I like because it's a decent movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Unfortunately for the movie, the most interesting thing about it is not in the movie, the main movie. It's the mid-credit scene because that got a reaction in the screening I was in where. Oh man!
So we've been talking about like risks Marvel could take. I feel like that's probably a big one.
Yeah, all of us sitting there. What?
And then it goes dark and you had nothing for.
Well, doesn't he say what the? Isn't that where it's another cut? What the? Yeah, it's a friend of the podcast, Hammy, who does not like the majority of these movies that he's seen, but he's a big Spider-Man fan. We're sitting there watching. He liked it fine, and then that scene happened, and I saw him like lean forward a little, like, whoa. And I like how it's not just a throwaway thing; it's a big, big, big vital piece of the next movie that
I also
he's
like
in.
how it's J.K. Simmons.
Oh, of course, that was great. It's like we get that cameo drop. We're like, hey, and then the whole reveal. You go,
Yeah.
Can you imagine how upset you would have been if it wasn't J.K. Simmons?
I was hoping for Ice Cube, who was supposed to be the J. Jonah in the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. I still think that's great casting. Yeah, J.K. Simmons is perfect casting. I think Ice Cube's pretty good casting for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, that's just it is a little shame the biggest reaction and thing is not in the main movie.
I think my favorite part about the main part of the movie is the scene in one Germany. I think is where they go to the office building with Fury, and it turns into a full-on death.
Where he gets hit by the train, and then
the train. He's got like the skeletons of all the other heroes in there, and he's back in his like homecoming homemade suit. It was very like
Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man.
It was
Iron Man coming out of the grave is
It was
with like the spiders and stuff crawling out of him.
That's the thing what I mean when I imagine Mysterio. That is Mysterio.
Yep, they got it right, and it could have gone so wrong.
That's one of the best sequences of the movie.
You know where I think they probably got it a little wrong is the white and black suit that he wears. Because the suit that Mysterio actually wears, at least in what I've read,
like yellow and purple or something.
No,
green.
like his
Green and purple.
His imaginary suit is correct. It's the thing that he wears during the drone sequence, like the special effects.
The SFX one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of dumb to me, but
I like that it's stripped down to just a VFX thing.
Just because it's also Mysterio.
Yeah.
So it's now time for everybody's favorite segment of the week. Jared, I think you know what I'm going to ask you. Have you?
I'm flattered, Jake, but you're taken. Just ask the stupid question.
Have you watched Dutch yet?
No.
Why not?
Because we're going to watch it together on our honeymoon.
Okay.
All right. He's paying.
I always do. The man.
See, that's why. Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Okay, drones.
Back to drones.
They're lame.
I fly a couple drones. They are not.
Not drones in general in this movie.
I have a question about the drones.
Yeah.
Do not.
Did he have control of the drones before having the glasses, or was he using something else for his holograms before meeting Peter?
He was using something else. The glasses are the arsenal. The Stark arsenal. The
Yeah.
Starks and all.
Which he's using those drones to protect.
He was using something else. No, he was using. You're right. He was using something else.
Okay.
What I don't understand is because as he was going through the whole thing in the bar, he was saying, "Your VFX, your holograms, your this that." How are they getting so much damage out of
I was
just
thinking that too.
without
It's a projection.
intense amounts of pre-planning and knowing exactly where the fight was going to go and basically knowing that Spider-Man was going to be there? And didn't he get hit by one of those?
He got hit by a whole bunch of water on that bridge.
Okay.
He was washed out.
And that was the only time one of them touched him.
I think so.
'Cause
How
the
are they
next one was a fire
generating?
one.
Yeah, how are they generating heat? Were they? They could fire little missile things.
I also think that he was lying about that.
But wasn't the whole
It was
thing
like-
toppling?
Yeah, it was like melting the Ferris
Oh,
wheel. Yeah.
that's right.
It was heating steel beams and turning them to liquid.
So again, they could have little things on them that.
Yeah,
like,
but it would require so much prep.
remember, we're not supposed to think about it that much.
So much prep. I mean, we make little 2-minute videos, right?
Yeah,
How much prep does that require of us?
a lot. But there's also only 2 of us instead of a giant team with a big
but that
studio.
wasn't
to
Oh,
back
former
us.
Stark employees who have all that know-how.
It's funny how even after he's dead, it's still his universe that we're just living in.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it. We still got a mental pin in that scene. With the drones, though. I understand why they're there, and from everyone who's told me about Mysterio, it makes perfect sense. I just think when you show something cooler than what they really are, it just feels underwhelming. So when you get to the big drone fight at the end, it's like they're just running away from drones, and he's swinging around drones. It's like it just feels lacking.
It's very much a Spider-Man game. But not
Yeah.
main story, but the side quest that you have to do 100 times.
And again, an interactive game is different
it's
than watching a big
Spider-Man's
budget
two-
movie.
boring parts of the game.
It's Spider-Man 2's Return the Balloon to the Kid.
Yep. It's find all the pigeons in the city.
That's fun, though.
So that's my whole thing about it. It's like they bring up something cooler than what it is. I understand why the twist is there. I don't mind the twist because we all knew he's going to be the villain. It's just, it feels so lame in comparison. I don't know how to, I think this time even I was like, because last time it was like, yeah, it's a little lame. This time I was like, this is bugging me. Like, it's so much cooler when the elementals are real, quote unquote.
Or if he would have actually come from another universe. Like, I get that it's his thing, but again, if they were going to lean into the whole multiverse thing.
You guys are writing a whole different movie then. If he's from a different universe, then he's not going after Tony Stark and using all the Stark people, and there's no connection to any of those people at all.
But then, like, to Jared's point, why can't the elementals be real? Why can't that
Well, they
be
can,
real?
but then we wouldn't be dealing with Mysterio because he doesn't deal in real. He deals in illusion.
It's fair.
Like
Unless
they said,
they're
you're writing
working
different
for-
movies.
Or rather, how about this? How about why can't they be real? Because it's an illusion that he actually created. Because in like the comics and the shows that I've seen, it's actual magic that he's using, and we know that magic exists in this universe. Why did it have to be technology that creates them as opposed to I think he would have. What?
You start playing footsie with me.
I am.
He did.
Not
Also, there's
intentionally. I was just
your
stretching my
legs-
knee out and I
your
felt
legs
foot.
your legs are that long?
We're both pretty tall.
I can still touch his foot all the way over there.
He stretched and I felt something on my toe. I'm like,
Yeah, my knee was locking up, then I found a foot.
Ooh.
He pulled away before I did.
yeah. I'm
Again, I
committed
say to you.
I'm sorry for stepping in on your person, Jake.
Yeah.
I know you have your Dutch anniversary coming up soon.
Anyway, why couldn't it have just been magic? We accept magic in this universe already.
Because
Why did it
science
have
and
to be
magic,
technology?
they are one and the same.
No, that's Asgard.
I don't know. I just...
Because then we lose our connection to Tony Stark.
See, now that you say that, though, it's starting to deconstruct a little bit in my head.
What if the elementals are real, but like he somehow can control them as a real being, not a projection? So the twist isn't these are fake, it's an illusion, which is a Mysterio thing, I get it. It's more of, oh, he's behind these, and the illusion is that he's fighting them. He's not actually fighting them, which I know he's not actually fighting them. I
will say, in Spider-Man 2, the game that came out whatever year at this point.
2004, I think?
No. I mean, like Spider-Man 2, the PS4.
Oh, not the...
Is that 2019?
That's 2023, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the first one's like 2019.
Yeah.
Mysterio's in that, and it is an illusion, and the illusions do have effect on you. So it's not completely outside universe that just an illusion could have an effect on you.
Yeah. But again, I know it has to be an action set pieces because MCU, but everything in that building before he gets train spotted, whatever you want to call it, everything in that building is so good and so cool, and I wish there was more of that because it's really 2 scenes, which we can get into the bar scene now. I really like the moment between them, the conversation, him giving the glasses, and the reveal of, oh, this all is fake. I think there's a thing with where they put it, because what they probably should have done, in my opinion, hindsight, guy in a basement talking about, I think they should have cut it right as it's changing so you think you see something. Then you have the Peter MJ scene where they figure it out with the little thing outside, right, when he's leaving. And that's the reveal, because then you jump back to Jakey G sitting in the bar giving his long speech, because that is a really long scene. Because when he's going through the checklist of everything they've done, I go, he's selling it. And it's covering everything, and it's hitting you on the head, but it's working because Jake Gyllenhaal is Jake Gyllenhaal. But because we just got through this scene and we revealed it, but we're staying here and keep going, because that's like a 6-7 minute scene. It feels like it should cut earlier.
See, in my head, the minute he has his hands up and his personality changes, that's a new scene. I know it's the same set, but because the tone shifts and he shifts, it feels like a completely different scene to me, or it doesn't feel like a continuation of the same scine.
I just feel like, again, with what we talked about last week, with where it feels like there's supposed to be a cut in on Vormir, it feels like there's supposed to be a cut to where they hint at, because they could even go farther where it all, like the music swells, the cliche of the room changes, and he smiles, and then you cut to Peter's side, and that's leaving you wanting where it's like, okay, here's where the turn is. So when the two of them figure out that it's drones, you go, that's right, it makes sense because the room changed. It's got to be all a projection. And then you go back to him giving the big speech and explaining their plan to everyone. That feels structurally what would work better. It's the more cliche thing, but as we will see in this next run of Marvel movies, they're not doing the cliches because they want to surprise people, and it's not working because they're doing it for the sake of being different, and they're not doing it because it services the story better. That's my take on the order of which these scenes happen, because I like both scenes. I just think one needs to cut the other one in half.
I think I disagree with you.
You disagree?
I do.
You like the slow roll?
I like the slow roll, the break of it. I think if we broke that up, it would feel disjointed and strange. I feel like if we broke it up, we wouldn't then need the bar scene at all.
I
feel like the bar scene would feel redundant to go back to because it's so much further on in the day. Because then we'd be seeing hours later and then cutting back to the scene we were already at, then cutting back to past. Because he goes to the hotel, they talk and all that. Then they go and leave outside. That's hours later. Then you feel weird to kind of cut back to the bar scene.
I don't think it's too long after, because they go to the bar after the Ferris wheel thing, right? Which was at night. And the scene with him and MJ outside is at night.
I guess you're right.
So I think it could work.
It feels like it's hours later.
Yeah, and again, you can change that in editing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I think it's a structure thing that would work better.
I also think that the bar scene is laid out the way it does to force you to sit in what's happening. In a similar way that they kind of force you to sit in Trevor Slattery stuff. Like it's a very much like that thing sort of thing, except instead of making a joke out of it, it's kind of remained serious. As I remember watching it in the theater and not liking the scene because, again, it reminded me of the Trevor Slattery stuff. But watching it again, it's really interesting how it deconstructs, and then there are people in the, people in there. You're not sure who's real at first and who's not. And that in and of itself is kind of very also Mysterio. Like, the more we talk about this, the more I think, yeah, this movie does represent, as frustrating as it is, this movie does represent Mysterio. Probably the best thing outside of a animation, which you can do anything with. Could.
Yeah. And I also think with the bar scene specifically, us watching it unfold and hearing his plan and everything, just over that scene, you're realizing how bad of an idea it was for Peter to give him those glasses.
Also, how
as it's just building more, it's like, oh, okay, so this is a whole big operation with multiple people, and they all have slights against Tony, and it's just building and building as he just got these glasses, and you're just seeing the power that he now has with this arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Or they could have just done the thing where they just leave Mysterio as the new Iron Man, and it just changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name? What did Tony name Mysterio? Barf. That's it. That's a good tie-in. Mm-hmm. The guy who was getting yelled at.
Is it Bill Billingsley?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Ralphie from...
Oh, Peter Billingsley.
Peter Billingsley. Yeah.
Are we going to repeat the line again from Jeff Bridges? Go ahead, Nick.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
I like that tie-in. I like how it is like...
Sorry, that was loud.
No, it was perfect. Perfect.
Oh, I was apologizing to the listeners.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Who may not have seen me get ready for the yell.
That's true.
Oh. Let's move it back there. Okay.
Still good on audio.
Yeah, I bumped the volume.
If it's one thing people have brought up about these first two Spider-Man MCU movies, it's...
The naming convention?
Oh, we're not talking about that. The villains tend to be people who are wronged by a rich guy, and they're portrayed to be the bad guys. It's just funny. It's like, the first movie, yeah, he kind of had his whole life screwed over by Tony. Makes sense. We're supposed to root against him, though, because he's not really bothering anybody. This one, yeah, he's hurting people.
Yeah.
This one's a little less.
That's another one of those things where it's like, you're not supposed to think about it, because at both of those points, Tony has been set up to be the hero of the story, and now he's the martyr of the story, and you're not supposed to think about, like, he's kind of an asshole.
Oh, he's always been. Yeah, just, we loved him for it, and then now it's like, yeah, kind of, other than people getting hurt, right? Like, I mean, his life's work got made into a joke, and all these other people got slighted. Like, yeah, I get it. Of course, now he's going to kill a bunch of people once he has those glasses. And his little fail-safe, because he kind of knew he was... I don't think he knew he was going to die, but he was, like, prepared for it.
Knew he was in over his head a little bit.
And outed him like that. It's like, that's good, and everyone is doing, yeah, that's Mysterio.
I hope that wasn't even Mysterio that put that out, but it was Peter Billingsley, and in a later movie we get him as the real Mysterio.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not going to get Mysterio. Well, likely not going to get Mysterio again.
At least not that Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's a shame we didn't get Ash from the Evil Dead. I can't think of it.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell as Mysterio. Because that would have been a fun little call. Yeah, that would have been fun.
Something that the Multiverse of Madness could have had in it, but didn't.
Nope, had him in
it
a
had Bruce
completely
Campbell
different
in it.
role. Just not in the right spot. Even though he was a very good part of the movie.
Yeah, I love Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some of my big hang-ups with it. It doesn't feel... and I think it's because it comes after it doesn't feel that important.
Yeah.
And that's not the movie's fault. It's what it comes after and how recent it was after it, too. And again, the first chunk of it deals with that, and then the big scene with Happy deals with it. But it, just like all the others, it's balancing so much that it just doesn't have room for everything. That's a shame because, again, we've said how we like the small-scale Spider-Man approach, like the Homecoming did. And here we are. We take him out of New York, but we can still have it feel like Spider-Man.
Small and personal. It's about his friends and responsibilities and Peter Parker never getting to have his way.
Yeah, what is that? Peter Parker only works if his life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But that
He's
is
my favorite character.
Yeah, that's what people. That's why he's inspiring to people.
Yep.
It's despite it all, he's still the hero. And I with the third movie coming up in a couple weeks, I have heard many people say Tom Holland never truly felt like Peter Parker until that third movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a long way to get there.
It's funny because we always gripe about not or seeing Spider-Man's origin story in every movie and yada yada yada. Seen it so many times, and it's similar to how we talk about Batman, and then
John Watts takes it three movies.
It takes three movies to give us like an actual origin, and now we're like, well, you see, he never felt like Peter Parker because we didn't see his origin. Okay, no.
He didn't even know that great power. He didn't even know great power or great responsibility before that third movie. He didn't even know what those words meant. All he knew is when you do the bad things and the bad things happen and you can stop them, but you don't stop them, and you have the power to stop them, but you don't do it. The bad things happen and it's your fault, kinda.
And then you have a Pokemon adventure, and that's your best movie. Are we good?
I'm trying to think of
I will say
else.
it again, this has a very good soundtrack. The Spider-Man trilogy has a very good collective use of music. And
it's got to be him for this one.
I know he did. I'm pretty sure he did Homecoming.
I like their end credit sequences too.
Yep, it's him again for this.
Oh, I love that man. I think his Spider-Man movies are one of the ones that have like the really funny names for all the titles.
Yeah, there better be a Peter Tinkle track. I get they're trying to make it different and they don't want to call it a Spidey sense, but that's a little too dumb.
Yeah.
I like how he does use it at the end there.
Yeah, that's a good scene.
When he dodges
in the dark,
bullet.
dodging all the things.
Yeah, it's on that walkway bridge thing. Yeah, we kind of said a lot of stuff last week, and then this week it's like, yeah, it's just
good movie.
Just solid movie. Most interesting thing again is the mid-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
For good reason. I'm glad they didn't just drop that. How many times they do that? It actually becomes a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got.
How many years do we have to wait between Far From Home and No Way Home?
2?
3?
Is that it?
3? Was it 22?
Or was it 21? It was 21.
It was 21, yeah. So 2 years.
2 years.
That doesn't seem like as long as what it felt like.
It was because of COVID.
Yeah, we were all in our houses for so long.
That's right.
And we had no Marvel for a year.
And now we're going to get 4 next year.
But this year we got 1.
1 seems more appropriate than 4.
Yeah, it did. And from what I read, we're ending a phase in the middle of next year. Because Thunderbolts is the last movie in 5, and Fantastic Four is the first movie in 6, and Thunderbolts is May, and Fantastic Four is July. So during the summer, we will end a phase and start a phase.
So are they trying to just catch up from all the ground they lost with COVID and the writer's strike and all that?
I think they're just throwing phases around. They're like, let's make that one the end of the phase. We don't have any structure for this phase, but that's the end of that phase.
We don't have any structure, period. Hopefully.
All of our movies feel like they're in different universes.
Actually, it's kind of funny because that's kind of the thing about Secret Wars.
What if this is all leading to a perfect culmination of all of it?
They are just going to try to pull some bullshit like
what
that.
What if Marvel has been doing this, though? Like, these bad movies, they're not bad. Once you see Secret Wars, it's all explained and figured out, and they all make sense, and the bad things are good again.
Barf.
They tried going out with a Kang, and they didn't.
That was a major disappointment.
Yeah.
Major disappointment.
Just as a
all right,
human
end
being.
the podcast. Did you see that dumb joke you just did? I hate it.
I was saying just as a human being, it's a major disappointment. That all that coming out about Jonathan Majors. Shame. Everything I saw him in, I liked.
Yeah.
And now...
That was the joke that he literally just made.
I know. I'm trying to push through it so we can end this.
Guys, I don't know about you, but I am just getting phased out with this conversation. Jared, where can they find us?
You can follow... I used to have that problem. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, The Funny TikTok, and X.
Twitter. I just caught that.
And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, David's YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, ring our bells. Check out and rate us on all those apps. And check out our groovy website.
Subscribe, like, and hit that bell, like he said. Get notified when we upload new videos, like on Tuesdays, and we're going through our Vision. We're going through the Vision series in bite-sized Tuesday. Bite-sized Thursday. Sorry. Bite-sized Thursday. Regardless, if you want to continue down this journey with us, next week we are going to be watching Black Widow. It's going to be pretty stinky.
The post-COVID era begins.
Anyway, if you want to continue on this journey with us as we keep getting more and more phased out, tune back in. Until then, have a good one.
Bye.
Boo. Cut it there.
Okay.
I think
Nick, go pee.
Thank you. My legs are moving a mile a minute over here.
What happened at the end then?
I don't, because he's making jokes and you're making jokes. I'm like, I just want to make this point because it's a very serious thing.